So here's a pretty wild question for you. Could a secret ritual, one that shaped the ancient world for 2,000 years, actually hold the key to solving some of our planet's biggest problems today?
Okay, listen to this quote from the playwright Sophocles. It really gets to the core of what we're talking about with the Eleusinian Mysteries. He's saying that the people who went through this weren't just having a good life, they were the only ones having a true life, even after they died. This was an experience so profound it was believed to completely change your reality.
All right, let's dive in. We're going to try and peel back the layers on one of history's best-kept secrets. Think about this. For nearly 2,000 years, that's longer than Christianity has been around, this ritual was like the spiritual center of the ancient world. And its big promise wasn't money or power, it was something way deeper, an experience that would totally erase your fear of dying.
But here's what's really amazing. Look who is there. This wasn't some exclusive rich person's club. You had emperors and famous philosophers, sure, but you also had women, and even slaves. Basically, if you spoke Greek and hadn't killed anyone, you were in. That tells you just how important this was to their whole society.
So how did it work? Well, it was a whole ordeal designed to kind of break you down and open you up. You'd walk this long, sacred road, you'd fast to purify yourself, and it all built up to drinking this mysterious potion called the Kykeon. Then, inside this giant hall called the Telesterion, something happened. Something so secret that if you talked about it, the punishment was death. Like Aristotle said, the point wasn't to learn something, it was to experience something, to be transformed.
And that brings us right to the heart of the mystery, right? If we want to know what happened in that hall, we've got to figure out what was in that potion.
I mean, what on earth could be in a simple barley drink that could so profoundly change how you see life and death? For centuries, nobody knew. But then, in the 20th century, this incredible group of thinkers got together to try and crack the code.
And what a team it was. You had R. Gordon Wasson, the guy who basically introduced magic mushrooms to the West, Carl Ruck, a classics professor, and get this, Albert Hofmann, the chemist who literally discovered LSD. They put their theory out there in a book called The Road to Eleusis.
So Hofmann's contribution was the chemistry. He suggested that the barley used in the Kykeon was probably infected with a fungus called Ergot. And what's so special about Ergot? Well, it just happens to contain psychoactive compounds that are chemically like cousins to LSD.
So their theory was totally radical. They proposed that the most sacred religious ritual in all of Western history was actually a carefully guided mass psychedelic experience. The whole thing was designed to give thousands of people a direct vision of something divine, and in doing so, completely change their relationship with life and death.
Okay, let's fast forward 2,000 years. Our relationship with the planet has, well, it's changed. We've kind of gone from a culture that was seeking this cosmic connection to one that's in a state of crisis.
There's this term that I think just nails our modern problem, Earth misery. It's that deep feeling of being disconnected from nature, right? A spiritual sickness that kind of fuels our anxiety and, the whole ecological crisis. It's that feeling that something really important is missing.
And the writer Vine Deloria Jr. put it perfectly. He argued that our environmental problems aren't just technical issues we can solve with a new law or some economic fix. The real problem is a crisis of perspective. It's a spiritual problem, and it needs a fundamental shift in how we see our place in the world.
So if a radical shift in how we see things is what we need, where do we even begin to find it? Well, one project is trying to build an answer.
Take a look at this. This is the Earthway, a regenerative living project in Transylvania. It's being built as a place to heal that disconnect, to create a model for living in a way that's in harmony with nature, not constantly fighting against it.
The philosophy here is this really powerful mix of old and new. You've got modern permaculture combined with that ancient indigenous idea of thinking 7 generations into the future. The vision is to create something like a modern monastery, not for religion, but for mindful, intentional living. A place to reconnect with the land, with each other, and with ourselves.
And this is where our two stories, the ancient mystery and the modern crisis, come together in this really powerful, radical way.
This gets us to a key insight from the naturalist Tom Brown Jr. He said that if you really want to change society, don't try to change everybody all at once. Focus on the leaders. If you can create a profound shift in the perspective of just a few key people, the effects can ripple out and create massive change, almost overnight. So here's the proposal.
what if we brought back this ancient, transformative experience? Not for everyone, but specifically for the leaders, the innovators, the changemakers who are steering the ship of our world today.
The parallel is it's striking, right? The same kinds of people who shaped the ancient world, the thinkers, the rulers, the artists, are the ones shaping ours. Just imagine what could happen if today's CEOs, policymakers, and creators went through an experience that fundamentally reconnected them to the web of life.
And this isn't just a fantasy, it's a real vision. A modern Eleusis, held at a place like the Earthway, would take people on a sacred journey through nature, through purification rituals, and then a carefully guided Kykeon moment. But, and this is so important, it wouldn't end there. The final step is integration, figuring out how to turn that deep inner shift into real, tangible action in the world.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative question. We're facing these huge, global problems that come from a limited point of view, right? What if the solution lies in reviving an ancient technology for changing consciousness, one that, for 2,000 years, reminded humanity's greatest minds that they weren't separate from nature, but a vital part of a living, breathing cosmos? Could the path to a better future actually be the road back to Eleusis?